Welcome back to BNC Live. Attorneys are closer to having a full jury seated for the trial of a former Minnesota police officer who shot and killed Daunte Wright. Kim Potter, she's charged with manslaughter. She claims she reached for a taser but grabbed her handgun by mistake. The shooting took place just miles away from Minneapolis during the Derek Chauvin trial for George Floyd's murder. Now, 10 jurors have been seated so far, but as jury selection continues into day 3, it includes 5 men and 5 women. The breakdown so far is as follows: 4 white men, 2 white women, an Asian woman, and 1 black woman. It's not known the race of the last man seated. Each juror had been asked about their views on the police and also the Black Lives Matter movement. The defense and prosecution, working to seat 12 jurors and 2 alternates, are opening statements, so opening statements can begin next week. Joining me now to help us break down the questions we have in regards to potential jurors and expectations for this case is BNC's chief legal correspondent, Laura McNeal. We also are joined by law professor and criminal defense attorney Richard Kling. All right, Laura. Pleasure, better yet, pleasure to have you both. Laura, we'll start with you. Jurors are being asked about whether they heard protest over George Floyd's killing and also how they feel about police officers. Can you explain why this type of questioning matters?
Yes, so this type of questioning is very similar to what we heard in the trial for Derek Chauvin for the killing of George Floyd. Essentially what they're trying to determine is whether or not these jurors can come to that jury stand with a clean slate, with not any preconceived notions with respect to the defendant's guilt or non-guilt in this case. They want to make sure that jurors don't harbor any type of negative feeling towards Black Lives Matter protests or Daunte Wright. And so they're doing their due diligence, these attorneys, in trying to uphold one of the principal elements of the Constitution, and that's the right to a fair and impartial trial.
All right, and Richard, we know that during this deadly incident that the Derek Chauvin trial was taking place for the murder of George Floyd. Will that play any role in this case?
Hopefully it won't play a role. The jurors are being asked whether they can put out of their minds anything but what they hear in the courtroom. That's what the jurors swear they will do. Hopefully they will be true to their oaths. If they're true to their oaths, they will listen to the evidence in the courtroom, and they will not consider what went on outside the courtroom. Now, is that realistic? In most cases, probably not completely realistic.
Yeah, I mean, considering the fact that so many people saw that George Floyd video, I mean, how would they keep that type of how will they keep that out of this trial? Laura?
Yeah, so, you know, there were members, obviously, in the George Floyd trial that served on the jury that had seen that infamous video. But the reason they were still selected for the jury is because they convinced those attorneys and the judge, essentially, that they were able to come to the table with an open mind, to be open to learning about new facts in the case. What are the actual facts surrounding the case before and after, stuff that go beyond that video. And as long as they were willing to have an open mind, they still served on that jury, and as we know, rendered a guilty verdict. So just because in this day and age, especially, you might have seen some of these crime videos that have gone viral, it doesn't necessarily exclude you from serving on a jury.
All right, Richard, now both the prosecution and the defense agree that Daunte Wright's shooting was an accident. So why is Kim Potter on trial then?
Well, the question whether she was negligent, and there's no question it was an accident. She did not intend to kill him. The issue is whether she, A, had a right to use any type of force, whether it was a taser or bullets, and B is whether she accidentally used the wrong type of force that she was entitled to use. She's facing up to 15 years for a second-degree murder charge. The jury is going to have to decide, was it an innocent mistake by a police officer who was trying to do her duty, or was it a negligent mistake where she has to pay the penalty? Police officers are held to a higher standard than the rest of the population. For obvious reasons, they have guns, they can kill.
Yeah. Laura, talk about how they'll have to prove that this wasn't negligence. Also, in the aftermath of that shooting, we heard on her body cam video, she basically just said, "Oh my God, I'm going to jail," and I'm just paraphrasing there.
Yeah, so essentially what the prosecution would have to prove is that this was reckless in behavior that she should not have engaged in. Someone with 20 plus years experience, she's a veteran on the force, she actually serves as a trainer as well for younger recruits, and that someone with her level of experience should have been more careful, should not have been as reckless, should not have been as loose, I guess I would say, in terms of better judgment out in the field, and that poor judgment, that recklessness, that negligent behavior led to the unlawful killing of Daunte Wright. That's what they'll have to convince the jury. But you know, I have to remind us about that video. She's on that video yelling, "Taser, taser, taser," which is the standard practice for police officers before they disengage a taser. They want to make sure that their other colleagues, other officers aren't hit as well. And that's going to really help her defense, as well as her saying, as you stated afterwards, oh no, I think I used my gun, I meant my taser. So that's really going to bode her well, that body cam footage.
All right, Richard, my question for you is, we've seen, she's expected to take the stand in her own defense. Now, we saw the same thing happen in the trial for Ahmaud Arbery's murderers, right? But we didn't see that with Derek Chauvin. He didn't take the stand in his own defense. Is it rare for an officer to take the stand in this type of trial, and what impact will it have on the jury?
Well, again, usually officers are on the other end of the receiving. They are the ones who testify against the defendant who's on trial, so they always are on the stand. When they're charged, it is rare for them to take the stand. And the reason is defense lawyers will have spent hours, if not weeks and weeks and weeks, preparing them. And most officers have, there are fundamental frailties that the lawyers are worried are going to come out in front of the jury. And if the jury does not believe the officer, that's the end of the case.
All right, I'd like to thank you both for joining us, and we look forward to welcoming you back and following up on this trial.